All right, welcome to the Introduction to Geospatial Data course introduction and kickoff meeting. I actually have one of your classmates here with me. So Jessica, I'm gonna flip over so folks can see you. Jessica Huang, correctly? Is that correct? Thank you so much for joining us and representing your classmates. The rest of them will be watching this on a video, but please don't hesitate any time to yell at me if you have a question about what I'm talking about, okay? All right, thanks. And so my name is Sean Moran. I am your Introduction to Geospatial Data instructor, and I'll be teaching the course this semester. Tonight, we're going to go over some things like ACC GIS program, awards, GIS at ACC. We're going to go over the Blackboard course website and the syllabus, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you should be working on this week. I want to take this opportunity to make sure that you understand where Introduction to Geospatial Data falls within the ACC GIS program, and you can do that by going to our program website at austincc.edu/GIS. Oops, let me go back. There we go. And so this is our program website. When you go to the home page, you can read about different things about our program, including the different levels of certification. This class, actually this is Introduction to GIS, but this class also Introduction to Geospatial Data plus like an intermediate course really makes you fairly proficient in GIS. This class will get you comfortable with it. If you take intermediate GIS, it'll make you proficient. And a lot of folks just take, one or two courses to learn GIS. But if you keep going, then you can get your GIS Level 1 certificate. It has both of our introductory courses plus the intermediate course, along with a cartography course, our data acquisition and analysis, which is kind of doing a GIS project within the project management framework, and then our capstone. And then we also offer a Level 2 certificate for higher level skills required to advance in a GIS profession. And if you go to our courses link, you can read about each of those courses. And so these courses will make you proficient in GIS and qualify you for an introductory GIS professional position. And then these courses will allow you to actually advance beyond a entry-level GIS position into, for example, a web programming position, or maybe you're doing raster-based satellite or drone imagery analysis, things like that. Now, in addition to the Level 1 and the Level 2 certificate, we also offer an AAS degree. These are called stackable awards because all the courses in the Level 1 certificate add up towards the Level 2, along with the Level 2 courses add up to our Associate of Applied Science, along with some core courses. So you have a lot of opportunity there to join us, learn what you want, get the credentials you need, and then launch your career. You're in this course, you're in the online program, and we have a very strong online program. We started it before the COVID pandemic, and then COVID hit, and we were very prepared for it. And a lot of that curriculum has made its way back into our online program. Our in-person program. We actually offer something called HighFlex, which is a regularly scheduled class each week, but you can attend either in person or online. This particular class is entirely asynchronous online, as you know, and you can do it at your own pace as long as you knock out a topic each week. And the only scheduled times that we meet during the semester are when I am proctoring your test, and then of course anytime you need assistance during the semester as well. You can read about our faculty, including myself. I started at the Texas A&M University in urban forestry, and then at University of Texas with a Master of Science in urban planning. Both of those are geographically related degrees, and so I learned GIS at A&M and then continued to expand my knowledge at the University of Texas. From there, I went to the Houston Downtown Management District, where I helped build the first GIS for downtown Houston, along with I served as a planner there. And then from Houston Downtown Management District, I came back to Austin and was the GIS coordinator at Travis County. From there, went over to Texas Natural Resource Information System, which is now Texas GIO and part of the Texas Water Development Board. And I was a statewide partnership coordinator for mapping, and then I moved up and was GIS manager. From there, I went over to URS Corporation, which is now AECOM, which is a global environmental, civil and engineering firm. And then I went from there over to the Capital Area Council of Governments, where I was planning director for 5+ years. And then came over to ACC, started as an adjunct in 2007 and full-time 2010. We started the GIS department in 2010 and built up the classes to 12 classes. And see, what you see today is what we've built up since 2010. And I've since stepped down as department chair. Now I'm just an instructor, professor, which I really like. That's the best part of being at ACC. So I really like being here, and I like learning GIS with students every semester. You can also read about our other faculty. All of our faculty, for the most part, come from the private and public sector, so they have a lot of professional experience. So I'm always telling the students that they need to start building their professional network, and they do that by making good grades in our ACC GIS program and developing relationships with their faculty. Because if, for example, you're interested in working at Parks and Wildlife, Stephanie Long was the GIS coordinator there. Or maybe you're interested in working at USGS, Sally Hall was a hydrogeologist at USGS. Or maybe you're interested in working for an environmental consulting firm. Christian Hartnett is one of the lead, or he's a regional director for GIS at SWCA Environmental Consultants. So we have a lot of good connections, and the way that you build those connections is to do well in these courses so that you can ask for those references and get them to recommend you or link you with other employers. We also have a committee that advises our program and makes sure that all of the curriculum we're teaching is in line with what employers are seeking in entry-level and advanced GIS professionals. That's the current membership of the committee, and we meet a couple of times a year, and if we're switching classes around or curriculum, or sometimes they bring ideas to us, and then we incorporate that into our curriculum. We also offer you support. First off, I would say I am here to support you through email and my office hours, and outside of office hours, you can email me, and we can jump on a video call if needed. We also offer, you can't see it this week, but if I go to the next week, you can see we offer tutors, and they're both sometimes in person, but always remote options. So if you click on any one of these links during these time slots, 5 to 8, it looks like. What day of the week is that? That's on Monday. And then you can click on that link, and David, and this is David Gimnich, who's a professional who's come back to help us, can help you with your class. Of course, I can too. And then your fellow classmates can as well in the discussion group, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. The software that we are used in our program cuts across a lot of different types of software, both standard GIS software like ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online, but also open source products like QGIS and Leaflet Map API. The hardware we use is not just your standard hardware, but also things like our laser scanner, or we have drones that we use to acquire data. And then, of course, we're also working with all kinds of data across our program, too. In this particular class, we're going to focus on these ESRI, these first 3 ESRI, Pro, Online, and then it's called ArcGIS Field Maps. We're also going to use Google Workspace apps for this first competency. And then we're mainly going to work with vector, raster, triangulated, and tabular data this semester. Now, every student who comes and joins our program has access to ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online. And we're currently using the latest version of ArcGIS Pro 3.2, so that's what we'll be using this semester. It's, I would say $5,000 to $10,000 worth of software that every student gets for free, because it's not just the basic ArcGIS Pro product, but it's all the extensions. Plus, you get an ArcGIS Online account that gives you credits. Plus, on top of that, you get access to ESRI's online learning. So it's a really great package for you, and we'll use that throughout this semester. We also have examples in our map gallery of projects that students have completed. You can see the classes in which they complete them, so you can kind of get an idea for the projects. There's a few in here I just looked the other day for the GISC 1479. This is the very last project that you'll be doing this semester. Iris Pugh did this one. This is a cool project we do at the end where we learn the field data collection workflow. So we develop a project in ArcGIS Pro. We publish it to ArcGIS Online, which is the cloud-based GIS computing. And then we use that in a mobile app, ArcGIS Field Maps, to go out and collect. You're going to do a tree survey of at least 25 trees, I believe. And that includes attributes and then photographs and, of course, the location of the trees. And then you upload that back to ArcGIS Online and then come back in the office and build an interactive dashboard that you publish and can make accessible, of course, to your instructor to grade it, but the others to see it. So that's a really cool project. And then the second project's in here. I'm not going to download this one because it takes a little while, but this project right here is the recreation of a Peter Pan Neverland board game. And we use this project, it sounds kind of simple, but we use it because we wanted some simple geography that everybody recognized that we could use to kind of drill down deep into geodatabase schema within ArcGIS Pro. So we kind of use this larger board game as a vehicle to learn about different types of geospatial data that we store in geodatabases and how to structure them in a GIS project. But it's not just examples of projects from 1479. There's other examples here from all different kinds of classes. This is a 3D pond visualization for Barton Springs Pool. This is from our advanced problems class where students use terrestrial and bathymetric LiDAR to build a 3D terrain of Barton Springs Pool and then calculate the volume of Barton Springs Pool, which is a really cool project. So we do a lot of neat things beyond just the introductory classes, and you can check those out in the maps here. Now, who do our students work for? Well, at this point, they work for just about everybody. You can see a long list here, and some of these shops are almost completely ACC GIS shops. So, for example, GrantWorks, they have all ACC students working over there, and when they need new students, they come to us. INCO is a engineering firm, a civil engineering firm based out in Lakeway. They hire tons of ACC GIS students. I think all of Travis County's GIS staff is ACC GIS. Tenris, which is now TextGIO, hires our students as interns, but also has hired many of our students and promoted them to full-time students over there. So a lot of different places that you can work, both in the public and private sector. You go to our blog. This is where we post information and positions that are available. And you're like, well, how is this indifferent than Indeed? The difference is if we're posting those positions on this blog, it means those employers have contacted us and they are interested in promoting our students. Matter of fact, I can go to my Gmail today. I just got an email. Let's see, where is it? From Christy Teakle. Find it in a second. There it is right there. Christy, I got two of them. One is this one. This was one of our students who just applied for, right here, just applied for an internship at AECOM. And this is the hiring manager over there in their aviation technology lead. And he said, hey, we made an offer to Taylor. She's a very good fit for what we're looking for. If you'd like, feel free to pass this on to Sean. And so Christy is their lead kind of GIS person over there. And so she sent that along to me to say that they're going to pick up Taylor. And then she followed up with a second email to say, hey, they're looking for another GIS specialist. Let me know. And so this is part of that professional network that I was talking about that's connected to our faculty. But we post those types of positions in which our students will have a leg up on the GIS at ACC blog. So if you're interested, come over here, type in your email, say I'm not a robot, and subscribe, and then you'll get those emails. There are some other emails that we post in here as well, besides internships. Sometimes we get, what are they called, scholarship opportunities and things like that. And sometimes it's just things of interest to our student body. So I would encourage you to subscribe to our blog and take advantage of those. So that's our website. Now I'm going to go back and talk about the geospatial technology competency model. This is a national effort led by the Department of Labor to develop industry models for growing industries. And if I click on this, you can see here's the link right here. They've identified a bunch of different industries that are going to be growing in the next 15 to 20 years, that there is not enough labor being produced for them, which is actually good for any industry that you're trying to work in, because it means that you're going to get paid more. But it's also good to know that these industries are growing, and one of them is geospatial technology. You can see it listed right here, and they have developed a geospatial technology competency model, which is basically industry experts and academics and leaders, both private and public sector, got together around the nation and said, if we're going to hire entry-level GIS positions, this is the skills that they need to have. And so we took that when we developed the program back in 2010, expanded from Introduction to GIS and our intermediate GIS class to 12 GIS classes. You can see them all listed right here. And we summarized all of those skills in the geospatial technology competency model as our program level student learning outcomes. And then we marked where we are teaching these skills in these classes. We did that to make sure that we covered all of the skills, and by the time you get out, you've covered all those skills as well. So not only will you be qualified for an entry-level GIS position within Central Texas, but really nationwide, anywhere in the nation, you'll be qualified as well. One last thing about this GTCM is there's something called the GISP. That's like the CPA, the accounting CPA for the GIS industry, GIS professional. And to get that certification, or I mean, it's not a license, GIS professional certified. Yeah, it's a certification. Then you have to submit a portfolio, submit documentation that you've been a GIS professional, and you have to pass an exam. Well, we fed our pool of questions from all of our testing that are based on this GTCM to that effort, and they used a lot of those questions to create exam where some of our students who are getting the GISP certification have taken the exam and recognized the exact questions from our program. So we've really tried to take a lead nationally in GIS education, and in doing that have also developed a leadership role in the GIS professional certification. In this class, we also teach professional skills. I will say in the classroom, we can do pretty well. Hold on. My wife's distracting me. I'm recording. Oh my God. Sorry about that. So we talk about the professional skills, but it's really hard in the asynchronous online to communicate that and tell your wife how unprofessional it is for her to interrupt you in a video. But at the same time, we do talk about it. You'll hear me talk about it in videos. I'm talking about building your professional network. So it's definitely something we emphasize in our program. I mentioned previously we're going to be using ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Pro in this class. We actually won't start using ArcGIS Pro until the 5th week. And part of that is because we teach the Introduction to GIS and the Introduction to Geospatial as side-by-side classes. The idea being that students want to be able to take 2 classes when they first enroll in our program. And we found that it kind of overwhelmed our students to start them on GIS and 2 new projects right at the same time. So we kind of stagger it, and we focus these first 4 weeks in the Introduction to Geospatial Data class on the tabular data model and using spreadsheets to work with data, because it's something that GIS professionals use all the time. And then by week 5, we're going to start delving into the geospatial data model and using GIS software like ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online. Now you'll install ArcGIS Pro, and once you install it, this says, it's hard to read probably on your screen, but it says 3.1.2, which is what we used last semester. This semester we're using ArcGIS Pro 3.2. So once you have it installed, it should say ArcGIS Pro 3.2 right here on the About screen. And then also you want to make sure at home that you uncheck the check for updates, because you don't want to accidentally update your software. It wouldn't be traumatic, but it would get it out of sync with the curriculum and what we're teaching. So it's good to only update your software between semesters. Now, when you log in to ArcGIS Pro, like you can log in right here, and you have to log in to use the software, it's these same credentials that you use to log in to arcgis.com, or ArcGIS Online, that we'll be using during this semester. Last thing before I talk about Blackboard and the syllabus is I want to talk about GIS data management, because it's very, very important in GIS, because we collect and assimilate data from a bunch of different sources. And if you don't have good data management, you're going to find out by midway through project 3 that you're going to have a really hard time. And so you have to be consistent in the way you manage your data. And we actually get these principles of good data hygiene from the spamming industry, which is a little bit odd, but the spamming industry, to get a good hit rate, to run all their scams, they have to have really good, clean emails or really good, clean phone numbers. If they don't, then it's kind of a waste of their time. So they came up with these principles of good data hygiene, and we've co-opted them for our data management. The first one is one place for all. You need to store your data in one location. And this is easy to get messed up, because you might be storing your data on a home desktop or on a home laptop, on an external drive, on a cloud server, like Google Drive, for example. There are a bunch of different places you can store your data. You just need to pick one and stick with it for the semester. And if you're going to work at home and you have a Windows-based desktop or laptop, I would stick with that computer, and then I would use an external drive to back up my data during the semester. Some students like to use an external drive. It's not a bad idea, but if it fails, or it's like a USB drive and you accidentally hit it with your knee and bend it, it's all over in a matter of seconds. So again, I would suggest using, if you're going to use a laptop or a desktop computer at home, use your C drive. You want to nest folders within folders. If you look at the image in the lower left, that is a proposed folder structure for this class, in which off your C drive, you might have a folder called ACC. I call it ACC local just so I can keep track of it, but you can just call it ACC. And if you do that, because it sorts alphabetically, it'll sort always to the top, which will make you a little bit more efficient in working in this class. Then I created a folder within that called Introduction to GIS in this example, but you do it Introduction to Geospatial Data. And then within that, you need a series of subfolders that are thematic subfolders, like for my lectures, for my syllabus, for my tutorials that I do, or exercises, for my projects. And then within the projects, you're going to have individual project folders that have a folder structure within that. And so that way, you don't just have data thrown all over your computer and then it's hard to find. The more organized you are in how you structure your folder system, the more quickly you're going to be able to work and get things done. Make sure you follow file naming conventions and be specific and standardized in the way that you name your files. For geographic data or GIS data, we use the geographic name. So we lead with that. So if I sort alphabetically and I'm looking for example, manhole covers, then I would find it under M. Or if I'm looking for schools, I would find it under S. So we start with the geographic name, and then we'll often throw in some other additional information so we can understand what the file is just from the name. So for example, I have aquifers major TWDB. There's minor aquifers and major aquifers. For example, the Edwards Aquifer is a major aquifer. And this is from the Texas Water Development Board. That's the source, custodian agency that maintains that data, and it's the authoritative agency. So I know that that is the best place for aquifers. Or maybe the bottom one, Streets 2009 CapCog. That means it's Streets, but it's 2009, so it's probably a little too old from CapCog. I need to get something new. Now for other data, we use temporal names, and you can see the system is using year, month, and date, and then just describe what it is. And what I like to do that is, one, because that when I sort alphabetically in Windows File Explorer, it actually sorts temporally too. But also it allows me to have version control. So if I have a document and I date it, it's dated yesterday, and then I update it today, I can just save it as to, a new document and then date it for today. And that keeps me organized, and it keeps my version. So if something goes wrong with a later version, I can always go back to an earlier version. Now, when we're naming our files, and because we're using GIS software that some of the code behind it goes back to DOS, which is before Windows, and did not like spaces, then we don't use spaces in our paths, in our folder names, and we don't use spaces in our file names. We use underscores instead. And it looks a little, not as aesthetic as using spaces, but when you're running some of the applications in ArcGIS Pro and they error out because there are spaces in your folder or file names or paths, you'll regret not putting underscores in there. So it's just a good practice to use underscores instead of spaces. Make sure you file as you go. Don't have a bunch of documents called Untitled 1 and Untitled 2. So figure out what those are, name them so that you can find them and use them later. And then make sure you colon back up your files. So a lot of times we iterate when we're working on data and projects. If you're iterating through, then go back and get rid of the middle iterations and then just save the final iterations for your project. Last, we'll document our maps and data. At first, just a little bit, we'll be documenting. For the very first project, it's just a source note that's going to be in your website and dashboard that you develop. But for later projects, you're going to develop or document the ArcGIS Pro project, and then by the end, you're going to be documenting the metadata for all the data. And it's a good practice to do because what it does is two things. One is it allows you later on to come back to a project and understand what it was, how you did it, and if you wanted to update it, how you would update it. But it also pays it forward. If you go get a new job, somebody was in it for 2 years and they left, and they documented all their data, when the boss comes and says, hey, I need you to update this 2-year-old map, and if all the metadata is there and the documentation is there, it'll be very easy for you to update. You will thank the person who was in the job before you. If they don't do that, you will curse them. So having good documentation, both for your maps and your data, is a good GIS skill to have. Okay, with that, I'm going to flip back to Google Meet. Where is Google Meet? It's in here somewhere. There it is right there. And Jessica's still with me. All right, Jessica, thanks for hanging in there. And so at this point, Jessica, do you have any questions for me?
No, not yet.
All right, great. All right, well, I'm going to flip over to the Blackboard course website, introduce the syllabus, and talk about what we're working on this week, okay? All right, thank you. All right, so at this point, you should have already logged, or I know you have because you're watching this video, logged into the Blackboard course website. And the announcements here, the navigation is over here on the left. The announcements, oops, there it goes, came back. The announcements, I use these all the time in this particular course. I don't use them in my HighFlex and in person because I just announce in class. But I use the announcements all the time in the asynchronous to try to keep you paced and to also answer any questions or issues that come out. So make sure you pay attention to the announcements. This is the latest announcement that said what you should be working on this week. In topic 1, what is data, along with starting to get the software installed for ArcGIS Pro. We're not going to use it yet, but it's good to go ahead and start now, get it going. That way you know it's installed and ready to go when we do use it. So you should be checking your ACC Gmail account for an email from ArcGIS notifications, and then you click on the link to go in there and create your password, and those will be your ArcGIS Pro, Desktop GIS, and ArcGIS Online login credentials for the semester. So always check the announcements. Here's the syllabus. We're going to come back to that in just a second. Here's my instructor info. I already talked a little bit about myself. Personally, I really like camping, hiking, boating, fishing, just being out there, having new experiences. That's a picture of me from this last summer. I went out to the Pacific Northwest in one of my stops. I went to Yosemite and I climbed up the Half Dome, which was very awesome and very terrifying all at the same time. But it was really great once I got up there. Y'all have done a really great job in the discussion group of introducing yourself. I really appreciate it. It helps create a sense of community in these asynchronous online classes. In addition, over here, you can't see it right now, and that's because I haven't posted anything there yet. But if I go back to my edit mode, you'll see there's going to be a kickoff meeting link over here after tonight. And so this is where you go to get the kickoff meetings. There'll be 4 kickoff meetings, 1 for each competency this semester. And so if you don't make the meeting in person, then make sure you circle back and you watch the video. All the materials for the course are be stored here. Right now, we're only working on competency 1, so that's all I have listed, but you'll see eventually there'll be 4 competencies here with all of those materials. I'll talk a little bit more about the competency 1 and what we're working on it in just a second. There are also links under here. Here's the link for ArcGIS Pro software. And so this is a Google Doc that steps you through downloading ArcGIS Pro 3.2 and installing it on your computer. The good thing is a lot of times we have to do an install and then a second install to get the version up to date, but this install is for all of 3.2. So it's a pretty easy install. There's a classroom video link right here. This is a link to the Google Meet video call that we use for your compadres that are in the HiFlex GISC 1479 Introduction to Geospatial Data class that starts at 11:05 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so you will find there will be some of y'all that might want to attend a lecture or jump in on Thursdays when we're doing our labs to ask some questions. You're more than welcome to attend and join us. We love seeing you in class, either through using the classroom video link, or you're welcome to drive up to Highland and join us in person. Either way, we like to mix and match these sections. Here are my office hours. Right here's my calendar. You can see here we are in our kickoff meeting right here. But if you need to schedule office hours, you just come in here and click on one of these slots. And then this slot starts at 4:40. Click Save. That creates an appointment. I update that appointment with a video link. I accept it and update it with a video call link. And then you just go into that appointment, click on the video call link at the appointed time. In this case, it would have been 4:40 today. And I'll be there. And you can share your screen, ask me your questions. It doesn't just have to be about our curriculum or the course. It can just be about GIS in general. I'm happy to meet with you and support you. As mentioned previously, y'all have already done a great job in the discussion group, of joining the discussion group, introducing yourselves, which is really great. And so I hope that you use this discussion group as an additional support as the semester progresses. I'm here. I can help you in my office hours, by email, by video call outside of office hours if we arrange that. But and the tutors can help you too. But your fellow classmates can help you. And that's one of the best ways to learn, is to go ahead and post something on here if you have a question. If I might, maybe I don't get to my email for an hour and you want to know right now, maybe somebody else can jump on and let you know. Or maybe you learned something that you want to share with your classmates. I would encourage you to do that here. Last, students really use this discussion group to submit drafts of their deliverables, their project deliverables, before they submit them in Blackboard. So they get the other students, take a look at them, give them feedback. Students are very good about giving positive feedback, constructive feedback that you can incorporate to improve your grade for your final deliverable. So I'd encourage you to use this. I, of course, will reply to my email pretty quickly. I will not reply as quickly to these. And the reason is because I'm kind of waiting for the other students to jump in that might know. If nobody jumps in, then I will reply, but I do monitor this and will reply if nobody else does. So anyway, I'm just encourage you to use the discussion group. It's a really great resource. And then there's other links to the ACCGIS website, the college policies. ACC has a number of great services to serve our students. Would take advantage of those. You can read about them here. The course evaluation won't open just yet, but once it does open, it's like mid to late semester. I will post an announcement and ask you to go in and evaluate the course. We use that information to continually improve our course. You're not going to use online tutoring because we use our own tutoring, right? And then the tools, those are just the Blackboard tools. So that's the rundown on the Blackboard course website. If I go back to the syllabus and open the syllabus, talk about the syllabus. So here's the description of this class. Here's where I'm mentioning that you have our sister HighFlex class. You can join, that's that same link right there, or you can join us in person on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Tuesdays, we do lecture, and on Thursdays, we do labs in that class. This course consists of 4 competencies. You can think about them as modules with 3 topics each, and then an assessment week. So there's basically 4 weeks to each of the 4 competencies. There's my contact info. I am good on my email, especially during the semester and on the weekends. So I would encourage you to use the email and that discussion group. If you need support or have questions, I'm happy to help. I already showed you my office hours and how you make an appointment. So it's very easy to reserve some time with me. You'll also use that in week 4 when we are taking our test, because I'm going to proctor everybody's test. So you'll just sign up for one 20-minute slot. The test will take longer than 20 minutes, but that's all you need. I'll get you set up, and that allows me to proctor your test. And so the introduction to geospatial data is just that. It focuses on the geospatial data portion of GIS. The introduction to GIS, which is our companion course, focuses more on GIS applications and map making. So there is overlap between the two. There's got to be, right? But we really focus on data schema and data modeling and things like that. And that's why we're really going to hit the tabular data model really hard in these first 4 weeks, because geographic information systems has an I in it. That's the information. That's the tabular data that we work with all the time. Those tabular records are tied to geographic features within a system, which is the hardware and software. And so we really need to get good at the tabular data model. We'll focus on that, and then we'll move to the geospatial data model. You can read about the course rationale. There are no prerequisites. And all the required text and materials are provided with you through links on Blackboard course website. And of course, we're going to be using our email. We're going to be using Google Workspace, especially with this first project that we're going to be doing in these first 4 weeks. And then we're going to be using ArcGIS Pro 3.2. And there's another link to the installation steps. Now, if you're wondering if your computer will run, you need a Windows-based computer. And there you can see the system requirements. In a nutshell, it needs to be a computer that's 3 years or newer is a good way to think about it. You also need a reliable internet connection. It's good to have external or a USB flash to back things up, and then a web camera, microphone, and speakers. So when I proctor your test in 4 weeks, I need to be able to see you. You're going to share your screen, but I also need to be able to see you and talk to you via the microphone as well. So make sure you get all that technology lined up. So this is an asynchronous online course. It means everything's there. And we expect our students to complete a topic a week. But every semester I have a student or two who marches ahead, and they knock out the 16-week course in, 14, 12, even maybe 9 weeks. So there's no hurry. You can go all 16 weeks. I'll be here for that entire 16 weeks. But if you want, you can speed up, knock out the projects and the test and all the curriculum and get done long before May, if you'd like. The distance education course, the curriculum is the exact same that we teach in our in-person and HighFlex courses, so everybody gets the same experience. I mentioned the learning outcomes. WECM are state-mandated outcomes. They're kind of outdated. We still teach them all, but really what we've focused our entire program on in this course are the geospatial technology competency model learning outcomes, and these are the ones, the subset of all of them that we're going to be learning in this class. And then SCANS is about professional skills. Again, we try to take opportunities to talk about professional skills as well. These are the grading components. The quizzes are a freebie because that's a self-assessment that you can take again and again until you get the highest grade that you want, which is hopefully everything. And the test and projects are, basically equally divided in their weight during the semester. And we do that because some students, they're not as good in the testing. That's okay. And for one reason, your boss will never come in and say, pop quiz, pull out a piece of paper, right? So, but we do use testing because it helps us assess our students and understand where they are. And so if you're not good at testing, then focus on the projects. Make sure you get all the points on the projects, and then that'll balance out with the testing. There's the grading scale. It's a standard grading scale. We offer exercises with each topic. The exercises are not graded, but completing the exercises will improve your skills and make you proficient in completing all the rest of the curriculum. This makes the curriculum more fun. We're taking what we learn in the lecture and the lecture demos and pushing the mouse around to learn it in the exercises. Then when you work on, for example, the quizzes, projects, and ultimately take the test, it all makes a lot more sense. So I would encourage you to complete the exercises. We also have a quiz each week that has 10 questions, 5 conceptual and 5 practical questions. The conceptual questions cover the concepts. The practical are basically applying the software by moving the mouse around and answering questions. There are 12 total quizzes, and I'm going to take the top 10 grades, average those out, and that'll be your grade. So if you make 10 10s and 2 5s, then you're going to get all 10 points for the quiz grade. And you can take quizzes as many times as you want. And by taking the quizzes each week, you're basically each week studying for the final competency test, because the quizzes are structured a lot like the test. There are 3 subject matter tests. They are 20 questions, 10 conceptual, 10 practical. And then there's a cumulative test at the end that's 40 questions with 20 conceptual and 20 practical. I'm not big on cumulative tests, but for these introductory classes, it's important that everybody gets a good basis of knowledge before they advance in their learning, but also in their careers. So we do, in our introductory classes, have cumulative tests at the end of the semester. We're very project-based in the ACC GIS program. Most classes have at least 4 projects. This class has 4 projects that build on the lectures, the exercises, the lecture demos, all the curriculum that we're doing each week. And it reinforces what we're learning in those topics. So each project includes 4 summary tasks, and we're basically, as we're knocking out a topic each week, we're knocking out the corresponding summary task. So at the end of a competency, when you're taking the test, you're also turning in the project that day, so that the assessment covers not just the conceptual part, which is the testing, but also the application in the project itself. Each project is worth 10 points. And I'll tell you that the first project is fairly easy. Projects 2 and 3 require a lot more work. And then the 4th project, we're kind of taking off the gas pedal a little bit and wrapping up the semester. So the level of effort's a little bit easier at the end. The middle 2 projects are the ones where you're really going to have to put the pedal to the metal. There's no attendance or participation. I can see when you log into Blackboard. And matter of fact, occasionally they ask us when the last time people logged in to Blackboard. So I can kind of see when you're working, but I don't really police it or anything. Just use it to, inform our process. The last day to withdraw is Monday, April 22nd. If you're going to withdraw on this date, I would ask that you email me before you do, because you've already completed 2/3 of the semester. Let's figure out how to get you across the finish line. So I'd like that chance to have that dialogue with you to see if we can restructure things a little bit to get you across the finish line. And so please email me if you decide that you're thinking you're going to need to drop because, things have kind of overwhelmed you. Regarding missed or late work, my policy is any missing or late work cannot receive a grade higher than the lowest grade awarded to a student who turned in the same assignment or project on time. So the idea is that if everybody turns it in by Thursday night of the due date by 11:59, and there are 2 people who turn in late, I'll grade everybody who turned it in on time, and then the lowest grade from everybody turning in on time will serve as the starting point for everybody's grade who turns it in after. That's just fair to your classmates because they got stuff turned in on time. Typically, the folks turning in time, the lowest grade is somewhere in the 80s. And so then if you then turn it in 2 days or 2 weeks later, then I'll start your grading at the lowest grade. So if you make 100 and the lowest grade was an 80 of everything that was turned on time, then you'll make an 80. And so what that does is a couple things. One, it's fair to your classmates, but it also encourages you to do the work even if you miss the deadline. Giving zeros, that doesn't accomplish anything. It's the work that you're doing that makes you proficient in GIS and get you a job. And I want to encourage you, even if you miss the deadlines, to complete that work. I rarely give out I's for incompletes. It means that something's come up in your life that is, not something you want to be dealing with. But if it does, let me know and we can work it out. Okay. Lastly, you can go to the ACC website to learn about all of ACC's college policies. Now, here's the course schedule for the entire semester. This is what we're going to be doing. It's a 16-week semester divided into 4 competencies. Each competency has 3 topics plus an assessment week. So each week you're doing a topic, and then every 4th week we're assessing by me proctoring your online test, or you can come in here and take a test if you want to, and turning in the project. So this first competency is focusing on the tabular data model. This first week we're learning about data. Next week, we're learning about transforming data, and then the 3rd week, we're learning about visualizing data, and then the 4th week, which is the week of February 8th, that's a Thursday right there, we're going to take the test by February 8th and turn the project in by 11:59 on that same Thursday. Now, you can take the test and turn the project in early, and if you do, let me know, and I'll open up the next competency, and you can start that as well. You just got to talk to me. Each topic has exercise, quiz associated with it, a summary task with the project, and then, of course, the test that you take at the end of the semester. So you can see these are all the things that we're going to be learning. We're going to be focusing on the tabular data model here. This is going to be the geospatial data model and databases and relationships and assimilation like extract, transform, and load, or what we call ETL. Then after spring break, which we have that week off, we're going to open up the hood on data and really get into data creation and advanced data editing and learn about topology, which is probably the most complex topic that we'll be tackling this semester. And then in the last competency, we're going to focus on the field data collection workflow. So using GIS, GPS, and online computing to set up a project, go in the field and collect the data, and then come back and assimilate, analyze, and present the data. So this week, if I go over to competency 1 in Blackboard, this is a summary of the competency. Again, the focus of competency 1 is to collect, transform, and visualize tabular data using best practices. And we're going to accomplish that by knocking out these 3 topics. What is data, transforming data, and visualizing data. And those topics are all listed right here. And so you just click on a topic. We'll start with what is data. And this is what we're working on this week. The lecture. Here is this course introduction, what we're doing right now. Here is the what is data lecture. Here are the lecture videos. And then here are the lecture demo videos, which the demo is at the end of each of the lecture slides right there. Here is the exercise that reinforces the learning. They're a little tiny bit out of date. One thing I noticed, for example, if I go to Google Sheets, it kind of throws you, especially at the very beginning when students are working. In Google Sheets, it talks about using the Explore capability. This shows me basic statistics down here in Google Sheets, but there's an Explore pane that shows up as well. It doesn't show up automatically anymore. You have to go under Tools and Explore, and then there it is right there. If you can get past that, then I think everything else is pretty much synced up. Make sure you get these tutorials knocked out as well. They make you more proficient and help emphasize what we've been learning in the lecture and lecture demo. Again, there's a quiz each week. What is data? Make sure you complete that quiz. I can see your grades in there, and you can take the quiz as many times as you like to make sure that you understand the materials, make sure you get a good grade, and at the same time study for the Competency 1 test in this case. Last thing is we need to be knocking out a summary task in our project each week. So if I go back to Competency 1, scroll down to Competency 1 Assessment, and then this is what we'll be doing in week 4 is taking the test and turning in this project. But don't wait to week 4 to do this project. You're supposed to be knocking out a summary task each week. And so here is the election dashboard project SAL, or statement of work. And then here's the source data we're using to do this project. So if I open up the statement of work, this is the authoritative document that you use to accomplish the work. And so you can see there's a project description. I'm not going to go that much into it right now. I'm going to post a video by Sunday that introduces this project. I just updated it. You can see January 16th. And so the videos are out of date. So I'm updating the videos. I'll get those posted by Sunday. And so it'll be an introduction into this project and also a video for each of the summary tasks. If I scroll down, you can see there are 4 summary tasks. You're going to be knocking out one of these each week. Summary task 1, collect and assimilate data, is this week. Summary task 2, transform data, is next week. Summary task 3, visualize data, is the following week. And summary task 4, publishing the dashboard, is the final week, the assessment week of the project. But basically what we're going to do in this project, which is a fun project, is you're going to collect comma-separated value tabular data, which are the 2000 to 2016 election results that are published on the Harvard Dataverse by MIT. And then you're going to import that data into Google Sheets, so into the tabular data model. Then you're going to transform that data by rearranging it using pivot tables and recalculating some additional columns. And then you're going to connect that to Google Looker Studio, which is a cloud-based application that allows us to build a dashboard with charts and graphs and tables. And then we're going to embed that dashboard into a website using Google Sites. And that website is going to be, if I scroll all the way to the end, look like this. Like this. And you're just going to turn in this URL that's at the top. It's like this URL right here that's in the browser. And your website's going to look something like this. Hopefully it'll have your name here, not mine. And you'll turn that in by the project due date, which is listed in the syllabus. What did we say that was? February 8th is when you're going to turn that in. And that's your project. And so you can see I've got my dashboard, which is connected to my data that's been transformed, all embedded within a website. So pretty cool project, very sophisticated. When you get to the very end of the project, there's a grading rubric at the end. Make sure you compare your final project or draft project, we'll call it, against this grading rubric. After you do that, make any necessary revisions that get you all the points that you see right here and submit that, and you should be good to go. Again, a lot of students like to post, for example, their URL for their election dashboard in the discussion group and ask for feedback. And other students are really good about giving positive feedback on the various draft deliverables. So I'd encourage you to do that too. So this week, oops, I think somebody joined us, is trying to join us at the very end here. Hey, Dana, we're just about wrapping it up, okay? I'll be back in just a second. So this week, we're collecting and assimilating data. So you're going to download the county presidential election returns, and you can go to the Harvard Dataverse, this link right here, to download it. If I open the link, you can see here's the data right here. There it is right there. But you have to, this is it right here, this comma separated values file, but you have to create a login to do that. So I actually posted the data right here to make it a little bit more accessible for you so you don't have to create a login. So you're going to download that data. We're going to use Google Drive to store the data in Google Drive. And then you're going to convert that CSV over to a Google Sheet. That's what we're doing right here, that you're going to open up. And then that's it for this week. So it's not a lot, but it's enough to get you started on the project. And then in the next topic, we're going to start transforming the data. So we're going to start rearranging and calculating the data. And this steps you through everything step by step, all the way through the project. So it's all right there for you. Again, I mentioned there's no videos for the project right now. That's because I just redid it, but I'll have the videos posted for all 4 summary tasks by Sunday evening, and they'll be posted right here under the project. So this week we're working on summary task 1 in the election project dashboard. We're also under topic 1, completing the lecture videos and the demo, the exercise, and completing quiz 1. And that'll get you going for the semester. With that, I'm going to jump back to the Google Meet, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Jessica, thanks so much for joining me. Do you have any questions at all about anything that I've covered?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering if you could tell me more about what the lab days are like in the classroom.
Oh, so I will go back just a little bit further. Lecture days. The lecture days, I'm doing the lectures. What you see in the video is kind of what's happening in the classroom. Okay. The lab days, I typically kick them off with about, I'd say, 10 to 15 minutes about what we're working on and explain anything. And then it's the students' time. I'm just there to help the students. And so it's in some ways better than asynchronous online, because if you're sitting in the lab or attending via the video call, and you're working on your work and you have a question, you just raise your hand and I'll answer it like that. And so you can progress a lot faster if you participate in those labs.
Are you physically in the classroom with us?
If you're here at HLC, but if you're at that link, then you'll be virtual. And so that class is kind of it's different. Like you're sitting in the class and I've got students in class and I've got students online too. So you have the option to do either.
So I could just come to class whenever I want.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well,
That's awesome.
during
Okay,
those
cool.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, that's great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Yep. Any other questions?
No, I think you answered all of them. Oh, wait, I did have one. I have kind of an old laptop and desktop. I mean, is that going to be okay?
Is it older than 3 years?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, if it's, yeah, that could be a challenge. You can try.
Okay.
Sometimes we have asynchronous online students who either have like Apple or don't have a new enough computer. They'll still come up to campus and use
Okay.
our computing up here, and you're more than welcome to do that. And if you do,
Okay.
just the very first time you need to let me know because I can get you a login. But
Okay.
but after that, you're can come up here at any time and use the computer. So you can try and see this first competency. It's not going to be an issue, but try to install ArcGIS Pro and see if you can get it to work. If you can, then maybe it'll be okay.
Well, I can get it installed and everything. I'm just worried that my projects are going to be an issue.
That they're going to be slow. It's hard to predict. If it was newer than 3 years, I'd say you're probably okay. If it's older than 3 years, it might be a little clunky.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens.
We'll find out. That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Jessica. Dana asked a project, can we add topics to the discussion board ourselves at this point? I don't see a way to. I think so, Dana. Can you share your screen with me? Do you know how to do that? You're going to click right down here on the Present Now button. Can you hear me, Dana? Awesome. And so let's go to your ACC Gmail. Click on a new tab. Yeah. Open up Gmail. And then go over to chat. I think I don't see it. Is this your, are you logged into, you're logged into your thing? Go to the Blackboard course website and let's join it from there. I'm surprised it's not showing up in your chat. It's under courses. Click on the discussion group. Oh, right there? Yeah. I guess you haven't joined it yet. Can you see that right there? It says block or join. You want to join. And now you're in, and now you just, I think you just start adding something in there, and then people can reply to it. Does that make sense? Yeah, this discussion board I don't use in Blackboard. I'm just using the one that's the link that I have over listed under resources in the Blackboard course website. Okay. Any other questions? All right, you can stop sharing your screen. Well, oh, hold on. You have another question for me? Oh, I don't mind at all. That's why I'm here. Yes, Dana. I'll tell you what, let's take that one offline. And so I'm going to wrap up this call, but go ahead and stay on it, Dana, and then I'll try to answer your question on that specific item right there, okay? Jessica, thanks so much. And Dana, for joining me on our kickoff meeting. It makes it a lot easier and better for me to have an audience. And so I really appreciate that. To everybody else, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great semester. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. All right? We'll see y'all later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica.